This is a big capability boost for the Army. This is their new C-142. And here we are at Salmon Sons, where we've got an Air Force XC-142, combat search and rescue helicopter in the works. We've got a completed SC-142, which are going on to destroyers and above to replace the Seahawks on that role. That's an anti-submarine and surface warfare rescue aircraft. And here's the U-142, which the Navy used for carrier onboard delivery and also for troop transport from the LPDs, from the bigger landing ships. It can pick up troops from the stern landers when I build them as well. So lots of capability improvements going on now. My goal is to build an XC or C-142 for each of the services which operate it. At the minute, Special Forces haven't brought into it, other than combat search and rescue, because they want more door guns to be provisioned. So they haven't brought into it yet. They're using their MH-47Gs and their MH-60s and their little Augusta A109s. The C-142, though, brings a massive capability improvement for the Army. It will replace the medium helicopters such as the CH-53 and the Super Pumas. It's got a 400 mile an hour cruising speed. It's got the ability to carry underslung even 9,000 kilograms, and internally it can take 4,000 kilograms. This is the Anigrand kit. It's not an easy build, but I'm gradually getting better at sanding it down on the top. I've added some lumps and bumps, in-flight refueling probe and some ECM just out of plastic card. Added some chaff and flare boxes again just out of plastic card. Underneath, it's got a forward-looking infrared turret. That's your weather and anti-collision radar. Having some issues with the cockpits on these. The glue, even though it was nowhere near that bit of the cockpit, has caused this weird effect on one side, and that's really annoying. To reduce glare on all of them now, I've painted the upper windows this silvery green, and the idea there is that stops the glare from coming out. This is airbrushed overall Vallejo Gunship grey. Underneath there, we've got the rescue hatch. That's where you can winch people from. The type was tested winching someone out of the sea, which is great. You don't have to use the rear ramp for winches or come to a weird arrangement like I did with the Rotodyne. It's all there for you, and that's why the XC-142 is just far superior to the Rotodyne. Underneath, that's your APU, some more chaff and flare boxes, and then to the tail where you've got that tail rotor. Long term, if I had more capability, I'd have been putting a NOTAR, which is a sort of a different style of rear blade, or even not a rear blade. The rear blade is only used for stability. The aircraft has the Hamilton 2P derived propellers, which are the ones which rectified its original performance deficiencies as tested by NASA. We've got the two crew in there from Elheim Miniatures, and I think this is a great capability enhancer for the Army. The idea is that 9 of these can lift an assault company. Each assault platoon has 4 ATVs, 2 of which will have a 50 cal pintle mount on them for that important fire support. So here is the gunner, and he'll go on the top there. The other 2 will have the counter drone and recce fit as here. And then the last member of the team will be on a large quad bringing up supplies. So the idea is that these are air mobile, advanced recce and assault units. With the support of the 50 cals, they'll be carrying javelins as well to take on any naughty tanks. And 3 of them, 3 XC-142s can drop a 5-vehicle platoon, and the last one will be carrying drone operators as well, and an HQ or a bundle of supplies. So it's quite a good capability giver. 9 will be fielded in service. Now, the XC-142s in Army service are going into like a combined wing. So hence why they've got 2 aircraft, what do you call them, denominators, for want of a better word. So this is Whiskey Bravo, and that's because when you get into 36, you need a way of telling which aircraft is which, like Bravo November was with the Chinook fleet. It won't replace the Chinooks. The Chinooks have a greater carrying capacity of 12,000 kilograms, and the Chinooks too can carry these ATVs, 2 on board, like the Delilah can. The big difference really with this against the Chinook is speed and range. So the Chinook is a fast helicopter, 196 mile an hour helicopter with fairly good range with the big tanks, but this has even more range as standard. It has the ability to in-flight refuel. Some of my Chinooks do have that, but mainly the Special Forces ones. And it's 400 mile an hour capable easily. So a massive difference in the speed of assault, and that's what it brings. It brings speed. It can land vertically. It can do short takeoff and landings. It can land on rough strips. It's a robust piece of equipment, fully digital in terms of flight controls with FADEC, that's digital engine controls. So a big improvement on the original, which already flew pretty good. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have pretty much them all in their stages of transition. So here we've got one in the landing configuration. It's landing like a helicopter. Here's one doing a short takeoff or a short landing. Here's one just in general landing configuration, and same with this U-142 on a carrier deck. Now, the canopies are the real area I've struggled with this kit, and as you can see, I broke this one trying to fit it into place. So what I found is that with the canopies on these, you have to heat them up in hot water, and then they pop back into shape. It's a bit annoying to have to do that on an expensive kit, but that's the only way that I've found to get it to work. Presence-wise and place-wise, it has less downwash than the CH-53, less downwash than the Osprey, which is said to be like a hurricane when it comes into land. So it's actually a really good replacement for the medium helicopters. Over time, the numbers will build up. I plan next to do an Air Force C-142. So this is the Air Force HC-142, Combat Search and Rescue. And then I'll do a standard Air Force transporter. And then I'll do another Army one with the wings folded and possibly call it a day there. I want to do one flying as well, because when it does fly, all the landing gear recesses. It looks like a bit of a box. It doesn't look great, but when you actually look at it, it's actually quite smoothly streamlined. There's not a lot of protrusions other than the ones I've added for countermeasures, or here, which will carry a jamming pod at the end. It actually reminds me very much of a Sea King or a CH-46 fuselage. So whilst it looks really ungainly and very boxy, it is actually a very smooth airframe. You can see why it's capable of 400 mile an hour with those 3,000 odd horsepower engines and those 4 blades propelling it. Now, the type has great survivability as well, because all of these are geared. A bit of a maintenance nightmare, but who says that the Osprey isn't? The Osprey has turned into one of those as well. But compare that to the CH-53s, their crash rate. Compare that to the Super Puma gearbox issues. I don't think there was anything in the XC-142 program that, one, couldn't be overcome, and two, would have compared badly to like a lot of programs really. So it was a shame it never made it into service. I'm putting that right. I really like this type. I think I've exhausted all available supplies at the minute, but I hope you enjoy it. The C-142 for the Army. Take care. Goodbye.